Hello everybody, let's speak about remote civil design using BIM360. My name is Alexander Lapygin. I am Chief Executive at ROSECO company from St. Petersburg, Russia, and have several statuses from Autodesk and from other companies, and have an experience of a youth speaker and project manager in civil design more than 10 years, and 5 years of remote design teams manager. Agenda: a brief overview of past and current situation in remote work, SWOT analysis of remote work in civil design and engineering, including strengths, weaknesses, threats and opportunities, cases of remote work by our company, and BIM360 is a main instrument of remote design teams management and other useful tools we are using in our projects. First of all, let's speak about years before COVID-19. Here you can find research by McKinsey about independent workforce, and the short conclusion of this research is that number of independent workers increasing year by year. What we have now? Now we have a lot of remote workers because of COVID-19. Everybody has his own selfie from Zoom, Skype, Teams, and all that virtual meetings tools. We are here at virtual Autodesk University 2020. And do we need more reasons to try remote work? But let me make an SWOT analysis of remote work in civil design, paying minimal attention to pandemic factors. What else benefits and risks it gives us? First of all, what is SWOT analysis? SWOT matrix is a strategic planning technique used to help a person or organization identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to business competition or project planning. And if remote work is our strategy, let's make a SWOT analysis. Strength. The main strength is that company size equal project team size. You don't need a large team for small projects, and if you launch a large one, you can scale quickly. Ability to scale quickly is a strength too. If you have new project, you can hire extra designers if your basic staff is busy, and it is your ability but not necessity. Next strength is getting antifragility. If you've read a book by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, Antifragile or Black Swan, you know that we are living in a world of black swans. Every new project is a black swan too, and black swans of new project becomes opportunities but not problems if you have a team of remote workers. If you don't have a lot of projects for a long time, it will be not so large problem too. Low overhead expenses. Office space, rental cost, utility bills, all of this requires less expenses when your employees don't go to work at the office every day. A lot of employers know it in a time of pandemic, but after that, I believe that pandemic will be finished. A lot of workers will stay at home because they like to be at home and it is useful for them. Comparing with this scheme, when you have some companies as subcontractors, certain people as subcontractors have no overhead expenses, just piecework salary. Next strength is that designer qualification equals complexity of the project. You have no more problem with overqualified or semi-skilled teams members. If you launch a sample project, you hire people with ordinary skills, and taking part in outstanding building design, you need stars and you can hire them. The next good thing is piecework, because fixed cost of work allows you to implement project financing for objects. Designers are not limited in the number of objects. A high degree of automation directly affects their revenue growth, or they can rest more. High motivation level. Everyone is interested in the early successful completion of the project, so everybody is high motivated. Basically, everyone works not only for money. Such work requires self-motivation, and it is only for those who are interested in their business. Completely project type of management. Project management is implemented when you work remotely in its purest form, since even a matrix structure is not needed, just project manager and staff under him. The next good thing is that the procedure for replacing one designer with another in the project is simplified. You know that not everyone can always dismiss an employee from the company staff, even if they are clearly not up to the job. But working remotely for piecework, the next contract is simply not concluded with such an employee, and the current one may also be terminated if it needed. High learning ability and tolerance to new technologies among team members. Everyone is interested in productivity growth, as it affects the duration of the project and the number of simultaneously executed projects. The next one is that maximum use of modern communication and data management tools. You have the maximum possibilities of using new technologies because opportunities for personal communication are limited and you have to use special tools. And if you use it well, you will be the first in the competition. And there we go to weaknesses. The main weakness is that team member could be out of touch because of less opportunities for influence and control. What can we do with it? Create a permanent team in an atmosphere of trust. Your employees must be your friends, and you must trust them, and they must trust you and your company. It is the only way to make a great team and to work with projects remotely well. The low competences of the project manager are immediately apparent. Much more evident is the lack of managerial competences, the weakening of control, and the lack of technical knowledge. How can we solve this problem? First of all, hiring of competent project managers. Their professional development, including project management. Project management is very important in remote work because of project management model, project management financial model. and it is the main thing, I think, in remote work, to be educated well in project management. Reduction of working time interval, less rapid response. In terms of the emerging market for remote work, many people have another permanent job, and it is not their fault. It is necessity. And what can we do with it? We can develop the remote work market. And this task benefits all participants in the process. Here you can find logos of some Russian companies working remotely, and companies from all over the world can be here too. I just don't know which companies working remotely in different countries. A designer can have several projects from different customers. Of course, every designer has several projects from different customers. And the problem is when designer himself determines the priority of the projects he is working on. To make it correct, he needs full transparency of information about the final goals of each task to understand their importance. Speak with your employees, speak with your staff, and give them all the information about the project to make them well informed about project goals and current tasks. When scaling, you need more time to adapt new team members. Not everyone is ready to feel involved to the company working remotely, of course. What can we do with this? Working together with HR manager, we can use modern technologies for working with staff, psychological techniques, emotional intelligence, and different methods to make them motivated and feeling involved in your company. Or, for example, you can hold a corporate pizza party after the project is completed, like on this photo. We have a meeting of our team after half an hour remote working on the project, and some of us got acquainted at this party firstly with our colleagues. It was very interesting and it was very good experience. The mentoring process becomes more complex when working remotely. It is difficult to transfer experience remotely, and active use of video conferences and webinars helps us with it. I think after COVID-19, a lot of people understand how can organize mentoring process remotely. And then we go to the next bad thing. It is lack of verification and control of technical solutions by leading and chief specialists. When working remotely, or for example with not very good project manager, lack of control provokes absence of design, solutions control, and verification by qualified technical specialists. Your project manager have to have these specialists on the project, and you can make separate contracts for this process, or these people must still be employed permanently. Less opportunity for personal contact when dealing with complex issues. It is a problem too, and personal meetings is a solution until there is a working holographic and a tactile connection. but I believe that time to make it possible is not very long. I think that after 5 or 7 years we can make a holographic and tactile connection to our teams, like in the Matrix movie, and the world would be changed. Number of accounting documents increasing. Each part for each project needs a separate contract, and the solution is automation of contract work, legitimation of the electronic type of contracts, and use of digital signatures. Okay, we finished to speak about the inside of project, and let's go outside. What threats are in remote work? The main threat is customers' rejection of this business model. Here I have to say thank you to COVID-19, because a lot of customers who couldn't imagine remote work with their projects before now can work remotely, and some of them maybe prefer to work remotely. Before this, customer could want to see people, hold meetings with the personal participation of designer, come to the office where work is in full swing. And what could we do with it? Only popularization, involvement of the customer in the process of remote work through all communication channels if necessary, and we did personal meetings, of course, when it needed. The second threat is legal regulations for evaluating a company's qualifications and licensing restrict the use of the method. Each country has its own regulations, and you see here the Russian Urban Development Code. And because of these regulations, every company has the number of employees working not remotely, working permanently, and of course you need to apply this method in the framework of current legislation. Dependence of the internet connection, its speed and quality, availability of other services like BIM360, email, phone, messengers, electricity, of course. What can we do with it? We can do backups, redundant internet channels, alternative and duplicate collaboration tools. For example, you can see here the BIM360 backup application written with Autodesk Forge and used to make backups weekly for all our project. And these backups downloaded to our local server to make possible for us to work with these Revit models if something wrong happens with BIM360, for example, or with the internet connection. The customer or other subcontractors can poach your remote designer for the same or other projects. We have some same issues on our projects, but I think this is not quite a threat, because to achieve antifragility on both sides, the design organization must have several designers and they must have several employers. And this balances the system. If one more organization began to work remotely, it means that market increases. But since it's just not good to do this, you don't need to work with such customers and such employees. And there we go to opportunities. The main opportunity is you can hire stars in your project when it needed, wherever they live, all over the world. It is fantastic opportunity, and we've used it in some of our projects. The next opportunity is participation in international projects effortlessly using common data environment. It's evident that if you can hire employees from all over the world, you can work with clients all over the world too. Extended working hours because of high motivation of team members. Each team member is interested in completing the project as quickly as possible and getting on with the next one or having a rest. And because of this, they all are high motivated and can work extended working hours if it needed to finish project as quickly as possible. No limit on the maximum number of projects at the same time. You can see this rabbit, and you can associate you with these rabbits because the limit is only due to the scaling speed, but it is several times higher than the traditional one in traditional model with permanent workers and not remote. And here you can see all the SWOT matrix with all strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. There we go to the second part of the presentation. Cases of remote work by our company ROSECO managed remotely with BIM360. The first case is Multifunctional Medical Center. It was new construction with total area of 35,000 square meters. And here you can see other numbers of these projects, the figures about it. And on the next slide, you can see the geography. Different cities from Russia and one city from Sweden. It was our customer from Sweden. They are architectural studio, and we made an engineering in this project. And here you can find a result. It is a BIM model of all engineering systems of this medical center, including inside and outside engineering networks. And here you can find some drawings made from these models. The next one is creating a dimensional model of buildings and territory. It was a preliminary project stage of restoration of these buildings with total interior area of 60,000 square meters for laser scanning and modeling in Revit, with 11 hectares of total landscape area. And this project were designed by 14 designers working remotely on the part of ROSECO, and 32 buildings were scanned and modeled. Here you can look at the result. It is a point cloud, and it is a Revit models and drawings from these Revit models. And the third one is reconstruction of the infrastructure of the cultural heritage site. reconstruction and restoration, work in documentation stage, and total pipes roads length is more than 25 kilometers. Total landscape area is 45 hectares. 28 designers working remotely on the part of ROSECO, and 68 volumes of documentation were designed and delivered to the construction site. This project is an IEC Excellence Awards finalist of this year, and we are waiting when it will be the winner of this competition. Here you can look at the result. It is a merged model of external networks with point clouds and one drawing as a result delivered to the construction site. Here you can find the geography of this project, project participants geography, and the construction site near Moscow. It is very wide, not worldwide but countrywide spread team worked with this project. And what can we say about BIM360? BIM360 is a main instrument of remote design teams management in our company. Also, we use some other useful tools. And here is a scheme of our work. Remote work on such projects is not possible for us without BIM360. And we can start from the data collection stage, like laser scanning, photogrammetry, and geodetical survey. We have a DVG format and RCP format after this stage, and RCP format goes to recap, to point cloud processing, panoramas viewing and measurements in panoramas, and DVG goes to Civil 3D for modeling and designing networks, external networks, and drawing design after that. RCS format goes to Civil 3D and to Revit both to help engineers to design networks in restored objects. Revit is used to modeling and designing internal engineering networks and for drawing design. All models from Civil 3D and from Revit goes to Navisworks, and RCS point clouds goes to Navisworks from Recap 2. We coordinate and check collisions in Navisworks and use issues by BIM360 to inform our employees about some issues. And after that, after all issues are solved, drawing designed and goes to work in documentation delivery as placement in a shared zone in a common data environment in BIM360, making PDF drawings and going to printers and plotters and delivered to the construction site. What methods do we use? What methods of communication do we use for information exchange? First and most popular method is email for informing and setting tasks. And I can say that it is very important to speed up communication using reply to all and put important emails under control and check at least once a week. The next method of communication is WhatsApp or Telegram chats for operational written communication. It is important to create a shared chat to inform everyone about project issues and important things, and don't overload shared chats with information. Next communication channel is telephone for operational oral communication, and it is important to use a conference call when it needed, and use headset because it is very useful when your hands are busy with the keyboard, for example, or with a mouse. Skype, Zoom or Teams, everybody use these instruments now, and for visual communication and for meetings. And Google Docs or Google Sheets or Microsoft Office 365 for public document and for collaborational work with documents. We use Google Docs for regulations, procedures and instructions, and Google Sheets for registers, tables, and meetings minutes. And the main instrument is BIM360. BIM360 Docs is for storing information about an object, placement of working BIM models. BIM360 Design is for collaborative work in Revit and in Civil 3D. BIM360 Coordinate for creation of the merged model, and Desktop Connector for BIM360. We are using it for working with site links in DVG format in Civil 3D, using for easy file updating from desktop, like Explorer in Windows. And here you can find a stack of our online tools, from Dropbox for point cloud storing because BIM360 is not suitable for it. BIM360 remote desktop for Windows, WhatsApp and Telegram chats, Zoom and MS Teams, Airtable as a cloud database for projects and for Teams contacts, Flowchart for mind maps for project and data management, and Miro for the same purpose too, Google Docs and Google Sheets, MS Office 365, YouTube for video instructions, Bittrex 24 as a CRM and for business processes automation, and Trello for tasks with no deadline. And as a conclusion, I can say that remote work in civil design has advantages not only in the context of a pandemic. It can be applied on fairly large projects. Remote work can and should be flexibly combined with the traditional one by changing the percentage of remote employees. The main thing is to find a balance, and BIM360 is essential for creating a common data environment for remote teams in BIM projects. And I hope not only COVID-19 will be the main reason to work remotely for a lot of people, because it is very useful for them and they can work remotely and it is not so hard. Thank you very much for your attention. You can ask questions and I'll be glad to answer you.